Okay, Assalamualaikum and hello to all. So today I am going to continue the lesson for chapter 6, which is periodic table. Okay, so I'm recording this class because I've got something to do by tomorrow during your class. So I'm recording this first and I hope that you can follow this video as a lesson for you, as a lesson for chapter 6, periodic table. So, so before we proceed with our lesson, I want to do some recaps about the topic that you have learned before this class, in the previous class. So before we proceed with our subtopic today, which is a metal and non-metal, so let's recap. So in the previous class, we already learned about the about the chapter 6, which is periodic table. We learned about these are keywords that's very important in this topic, and then you learn about the classification of elements. We got solid, liquid, and gas. And we know that matter is consists of small and discrete particles, which are known as atoms. So as we all know, atom is too small, so can only be seen by using a microscope, microscope, which actually need to be you need to enlarge the atom to 1,000,000 times. Okay, and then in atom, we already learned that it consists of 3 subatomic particles, which are protons, neutrons, and electrons. Okay, and this is a structure of atom. Okay, in atom, we have a neutron, and then proton, and also nucleus. Not a nucleus actually, electrons. So we got neutron, proton, and electrons, where both of the neutron and proton are located in the nucleus, which is in the center of the atom. So all of these are all of this is the structure of an atom. So proton have a positive charge, electron have a negative charge, and neutron got no charge at all. Also, we learn also about the example of an atom, such as helium gas, and an atom natrium, and atom aluminium. So we also learn about the molecule, where the molecule is the neutral particles made up of 2 or more atoms. So compared to the atom, actually atom is the simplest particles, but for the molecule it contains more than one particles, more than one atoms. So which means it made up of 2 or more atoms, and all these atoms are neutral particles. So these are the examples. And then you also learn about the element and the compound. So such as element is the simplest form of substance, contain only one type of atom. For compound is actually 2 or more elements combined chemically. So this is the keyword for the compound, combine, chemically combined. And actually for the compound, it produced from a chemical reaction. So for example of a compound such as aluminum oxide, ammonia, carbon dioxide, glucose, and water. Okay. So this is summarized that you already learned before. Elements such as helium atoms, oxygen molecules, where the helium atoms only contain of one atom only for each particle, and for the molecules it contains more than one, maybe 2 or maybe 3. For compound, it's chemically combined to form a new compound, such as hydrogen atoms bonding with one oxygen, 2 hydrogen atoms combined with one oxygen to form water. Okay, so in the previous topic also, we already learned about the periodic table. So this is periodic table. We got 3 different types of elements in the periodic table, such as metal, metalloids, and non-metal. So metal in bahasa logam, metalloids in bahasa separuh logam, and non-metal is bukan logam. So as you can see in this periodic table, all those elements are put there, and they use a symbol for such as Li stand for lithium, H for hydrogen, helium for He for helium. For C is chlorine. Okay, this is periodic table. So for the periodic table, if you want to, you can turn to the page of in your textbook, page 167 for more info about the periodic table, because in the textbook it shows you the proton number, and then it shows you the symbol of elements and the number, name of element, and also the relative atomic mass for the elements. So for example, such as we got C, this is carbon. So actually in the periodic table it will shows you the proton number, which is 6, and then the symbol is C, like this one, and then the name of the element, which is carbon, and the relative atomic mass, which is 12. Okay, so today we will go through the metal and non-metal. So these are example of metals such as brass, aluminium, cast iron, bronze, metal sludge, steel, and copper. And these are the examples of non-metals such as sulfur, iodine, carbon, and phosphorus. Okay, so we go to the differences between metal and non-metal. So the difference between both of the metal and non-metal can be uh, both of the metal and non-metal can be different based on this based on this apa ni based on these differences lah. For example, it can be different base. It can be difference between based on the appearance, and then ductility, malleability, tensile strength, and then electricity conductivity, heat conductivity, density, and melting and boiling point. So actually this can you can see the differences between metals and non-metals in figure 6.8 in page 169. So we go one by one. So the first difference is appearance. So for metal, it got a shiny surface, but for non-metal, it got a dull surface. As you can see, in this picture, as you can see, the surface of the metal is quite shiny, so you can see the lights on the surface of the metal. Compared to the non-metal, the surface is quite dull, so you cannot see any reflection on the surface of non-metal. This one. Okay, then for ductility, where the ductility means it can be pulled into wires. So for metal, it's quite ductile compared to the non-metal, which is brittle. So this is an example of metal that can be ductile. So you can see that it can pull into wires. So you can give pressure, you can pull it and form into wire. But for non-metal, if you try to ductile it, and then it can break the non-metal. It can break easily the non-metal. Okay, for the next difference is malleability, which means able to be shaped. For metal is malleable, but for the non-metal is non-malleable. So you can see in this picture, actually the metal is easily to be shaped compared to the non-metal elements. And then another difference is tensile strength, where the tensile means in tensile in bahasa kita panggil apa? Yeah, I will refer back to your to the textbook because I forgot the tensile in bahasa, which is kekuatan regangan. In tensile strength, kekuatan regangan. Kekuatan regangan. So for the tensile strength for metal is quite high, except the mercury, because the mercury, as you can see, mercury is actually in a liquid form, so it's not in a solid form. So how you want to see the tensile strength on the liquid of mercury. So that's why accept of mercury. But for a non-metal, actually the tensile strength is quite low, so it breaks easily. So as you can see from the picture, the tensile strength cause the non-metal breaks and form like this one. Okay. And then the next difference is the electrical conductivity, where the metal has a good conductor. The metal are the good conductors, while for the non-metals are the poor conductor, except for carbon and silicon. So means that for both carbon and silicon can conduct electricity. Can conduct electricity, not electricity. Sorry for the wrong pronunciation. Actually, for both carbon and silicon can conduct electricity. And then for the next is the heat conductivity, where the metals are the good heat conductor. Actually, the most of the metals are the good conductor, and most of the non-metals are the poor conductors. So as you can see in this picture, we got the Bunsen burner, so we lights on the Bunsen burner. So as you can see, so this apa ni, api kan. So this api kan, api in bahasa English I don't know, I forgot. Actually lights, I think lights. So this light also contains heat, so it can heat the iron rod. So because the iron rod is the heat conductor, so it can cause the candle wax here become melt and make the thumbtack unattached with the candle wax, and so the thumbtack will go down to here. So it shows you that the metal is a good heat conductor. Okay, and then the next difference should be a density, where the metals have a high density, while for the non-metals have a low density. So based on the pictures here, so this is a metal where we put the metal inside of the water, so you can see the metal is sink in the water, compared to this non-metal. Once you put the non-metal things in the container or in the beaker, not a beaker, in a container contains a water, you can see the non-metal things float on the top of the water, because it is because the non-metal have a low density compared to the water that we use here. Okay, so that is the 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 differences between the metals and non-metals. So now we continue to the next subtopic, which is subtopic 6.2, which is the mixtures. So what is mixtures? So you can refer to your textbook, page 176. So actually in this topic, the thing that you are going to learn are, so you should know how to communicate about examples of mixtures in daily life, and solve problem of separating mixtures through activities based on the different characteristics of material and physical methods. That's the thing that you are going to learn in this subtopics. So we go through the mixtures, we go through one by one. So what is actually a mixtures? Okay, mixtures is two or more elements or compounds mixed physically. So the keywords here is physically, because if the two or more elements or compounds mixed chemically, means that it is not a mixture. It should be a compound. So I already told you before, just about a couple of, maybe a 10 15 minutes ago, about the compounds, where the compounds mix chemically. So for the mixtures is actually mixed physically. Two or more elements, it cannot be one element mixed physically, because one element cannot mix with another because it contains only one. So for the elements to mix physically, it should contain two or more elements. So as you can see through the pictures, so we got ABC here, air batu campur, and this is the apa ni, I don't know, buah campur kot, something like that. So actually a mixture is formed physically, so it can be separated physically too. So because it formed physically, it just mixed physically. So actually all this mixture also can be separated by physical, or mean it can be separated physically too. So as you can see through the picture, so we got the double cheeseburger, I guess this one. So actually we can separate uh, all the elements, all the ingredients, actually ingredients lah, bahan kan, ingredients in the double cheeseburger. uh, we can separate all the ingredients physically, something like this one. Because in double cheeseburger we got a meat, and we got the burger, and then we got the cheese, and then the vegetables, and also the bread. So we can actually separate all the ingredients in the burger, just separate physically lah, just like that. Okay, and then so because the mixtures can be separate physically, so actually for the actually to separate the mixtures, we got 1 2 3 4 5 6 separation method that can be used. Actually to separate the mixtures, it depends on the physical properties of the substance present in the mixture, and also substances to be obtained from the mixture. So we got six separation method that can be used, such as filtration, distillation by using magnet, sedimentation, flotation, and chromatography. So we go first to the filtration process. So what is the filtration process? Actually, filtration method, not a process. Filtration method is a method where it can separate an insoluble solid from mixture of solid and liquid. So the keywords here is insoluble, solid. Insoluble lah, it should be insoluble. Because the solid is insoluble, so we can filtrate that insoluble, we can filtrate the insoluble solid from the mixture. So in the filtration method, we need to have a funnel, and then the filter funnel, not a filter funnel, funnel, or we call a filter funnel. And then we also need a filter paper. This is a filter paper inside the filter funnel. So this is, for example, we use the orange juice and pulp. So we put the orange juice and pulp inside the filter funnel at the top of the filter paper. So once we collect the orange juice without pulp, actually the orange juice without pulp ni is a filtrate. So actually the residue or remainder collected on the top of the filter paper is something that we want to separate with the filtrate. So we can separate by using this method. So actually this kind of filtration method can be done in the laboratory by using this is a retort stand with clamp. This is a clamp, and then retort stand, this is a what we call it, conical flask. This is filter funnel, and this is filter paper. Okay, and then the next method should be a distillation method. So in distillation method, is a method to separate a completely miscible liquid mixture that have different boiling points. So this is the way on how you want to set up for the distillation process. So this is retorts tank with clamps. So we got two clamps, first clamp and the second clamps. This is a round bottom flask. So this is a Bunsen burner, round bottom flask. So in the round bottom flask contain of the impure liquid which need to be boiled by the Bunsen burner. So actually we have to put thermometer here. This should be a thermometer because the thermometer is needed to read the temperature. Actually, for impure liquid, let's say we use plain water, so the boiling point of the plain water should be around 100 degrees C. So we need a thermometer to read the temperature. So and then this is a Liebig condenser where the cold water we inside the Liebig condenser and will out through this point through the tube. This is tube to take the water out from the Liebig condenser. So the function of the cold water inside of the Liebig condenser is to make sure that the water vapor which surrounding this part in the round bottle flask and this one. So all the water vapor here will be condensed to form a droplets of water here. So all the droplets of water will be collected here. So you form a distilled liquid. Actually, the distilled liquid is a liquid where it can separate a completely miscible liquid mixture, because in actually in the in the plain water actually contains of water and the minerals. So by using this kind of distillation method, we can separate the minerals and the water. So in this distilled liquid, actually this is a very pure water compared to the liquid in this in the round bottom flask, something like that. And then the third method should be a separation using a magnet. So in this method, we can separate two solid mixtures in which one of the substance is magnetic and the other is not. So the keywords here, magnetic. Because if you want to use a magnet, you have to make sure that the one of the solid mixture is magnet and another one is not a magnet. If both of the solid mixtures are magnets, so you cannot use this kind of method. So by using the magnet, so actually the magnet will attract the solid, it will attract one of the it will attract the solid particles inside of the two solid mixtures too. So the non-magnet one will stay remain there. So the magnetic one will be attracted to the magnet. Okay, the next method, separation method, should be sedimentation. So what is sedimentation? Is a method where it can separate a liquid and insoluble solid mixture. So actually, for this kind of method, one of the mixture is liquid and another one is insoluble solid. So actually, the insoluble solid, such as a sand. So we got a mixture of sand in the water. So if you want to separate the sand with the water, so just let the sand sedimented at the bottom of the beaker, and after a few minutes, so you can separate the water and the liquid by using this method. So just put the water to the another beaker, and please make sure that the sand is not also insert to the next beaker. So actually at the bottom one, at the bottom part of the beaker we call it as a sediments, and at the top one we call it a supernatant. So actually for this kind of method you need to do it properly with the extra careful. Okay, the next method is the flotation, which is this is the kind of separation method to separate soluble and insoluble materials in water. So actually for this one we got separate the soluble one and the non-soluble materials in water. So let's say we got the oil and the water. Actually the oil cannot be soluble in the water. So because of the different density between the oil and the water, so the oil will be form the upper layer like this one, and the water will form the lower layer because the oil is less dense compared to the water, which is more dense. So to separate between both of the oil and the water, so we can use a separating funnel. This is a separating funnel. We use a separating funnel to separate both of the oil and the water. So we put the mixture inside of the separating funnel. This is separating funnel. So it will form two layers. The upper layer should be a oil layer, and the bottom layer, which is the lower layer, will form a water. So by using this tap, actually this tap can be open and can be off and on. So you open the tap and let the water, the lower layer one, which is water, let the water get inside of the conical flask. Once all the lower layer inside of the conical flask, so off the tap. So once you off the tap, so you change the conical flask. So find another empty conical flask. Once you replace this conical flask with the new one, so you just turn on back the tap and let the upper layer get inside of the next conical flask. So that is the way on how you want to separate both of the materials. Okay, and the last one is the chromatography method, which is the method to separate small amount of mixture. Actually, for chromatography is a method that is usually used to check document fraud by separating the colors from the ink used. Besides, the chromatography method is also allows us to identify if there are any harmful food colorings present in our foods. So actually, that is the function of the chromatography method. So something like you want to identify if there are any harmful food coloring. So actually based on the colors, something like this one. Okay, so we just done with the subtopic 6.2. So before we end our video for today, our class for today, so let's recap what we already learned for today. So for today we already learned about the metal and non-metal, where there are differences between the metal and non-metal, such as the appearance and then ductility, malleability, tensile strength, electricity, conductivity, heat conductivity, density, and also the melting and boiling point. So, and then we also learn about the mixtures. What is mixtures? So you need to know the difference between the mixtures and compounds. So where the mixtures is two or more elements mixed physically. However, for compounds, two or more elements mixed chemically. So you need to know that. And then you also learn about the methods to separate mixtures. We got six different separation methods such as filtration, distillation, using magnet, sedimentation, flotation, and chromatography. If you want to know more, if you want to know more about the method, so you can refer to your textbook in page 177 until page 100, 184. 184, because in your textbook it shows you the activities, such as the activities, how you want to do a how to do a filtration method, and then it shows you the distillation method, the instruction how to do the distillation method, and then how to do a separation by using magnet, and then sedimentation method, and also flotation method and chromatography method. So you can refer in your textbook or maybe in your revision books. So that's all for our class for today. So if you have any, uh, if you have any questions, if you have any question to ask, or whatever that you want to ask me, so just PM me or just message me through my personal Telegram. So I will try to help you as soon as possible. Okay. That's all for today. Okay, thank you and Assalamualaikum.